Jesus said to his disciples, "In those days after that suffering, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from the heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. Then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away." Keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening or at midnight, or at cockcrow or at dawn. Or else he might find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And what I say to you, I say to all: keep awake. Over the last few months, since the COVID and lockdown and all manner of things, we've all of us
been doing things differently, re-looking at our lives, and some of us have been looking back at what has been. I think of how my parents would have coped with the situation now, and how it has changed all of our lives forever. I've thought about my ministry and the places I have been privileged to serve as a priest over the years, particularly in Cornwall, where I've spent many years of being a priest out in the mining districts for 15 years, and also some very happy years as Vicar of St. Ives, where in all these places I have met such lovely people. And I thank God for them and pray that God will be with them. In the same way, in this place here in Weymouth, in this church and our own family, I am so grateful for them. But Christmas is coming, and we are now in Advent, and we have to somehow bring the past into the present. We have to look forward in hope to watch for Christ's coming at Christmas. And some words from St. Mark's Gospel always jump out to me at this time of the year. St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 13, verse 37. What I say to you, I say to all, keep awake. I think the only time of the year I ever went to a live concert was to see Tina Turner live at the old Wembley Stadium. I think it was the last concert they had in the old stadium before it was knocked down and rebuilt. I love Tina Turner to this day. Ironically, in the last 2 days, Tina Turner has reached 80. But at the concert, we seemed to be standing waiting for hours. There were thousands of us in the stadium. And I found myself, quite fortunately, standing in the third row from the front of the main stage. And as I looked back, I could see faces everywhere. And as I looked back into the distance, I noticed the faces becoming smaller and smaller, less easy to see. They all seemed to resemble each other, yet nobody was the same. Different hairstyles, sizes and shapes, different colour hair and different clothes and personalities. Yet to me it emphasised our commitment and our common humanity. We were all there to see, with great enthusiasm and determination, Tina Turner on stage. It was a time in my life which was unique and precious, like so many other things, I'm sure, for you too. But all those people that I was gathered with, who were they? Who were these people that had come from far and wide? They were all doing the same as me, waiting. Yes, we were people, all of us, waiting. And that's us, you and me, this Advent, a community in waiting. That's us every Advent. But this year, the waiting has a strange new resonance. Our need for liberation has been underlined by lockdown. Our demands for racial, social and climate change have become more and more urgent as the year has gone on. Our longing for a saviour has been sharpened by the collective fear and grief of 2020. And looking at that crowd, I think that I was in, years later, I look at it through the lens of the pandemic, and I notice things I wouldn't previously have noticed. All of us were huddled together like sheep in a pen, in a crowd, all our bodies impossibly close to each other and not a mask in sight. We were waiting for a concert, but now in this year of COVID, things would never have been like that. Those same people who were waiting like me that night are probably now, like all of us, looking for answers, a way forward, a hope, and the ability to navigate the way through the twists and the turns of this extraordinary year. And there too are those we've encountered locally or see further afield on the television and on the internet, on our computer screens, bewildered by change and loss, their vulnerability etched starkly across the screen. So here we are, here we all are, in this Advent season, humanity at large, huddled together for comfort, longing, and deliverance. Obedient to the cry to keep awake. Our eyes are wide open, and we're scanning the skies for a sign. And the sign will come into our desperate need for God's will to be born. God's will to be born in us. Some words written by a Benedictine nun called Maria Balding. And she said this: "If you are so weary with the struggle of living that you have no strength even to want God, yet are still dissatisfied that you don't, you are already keeping Advent in your life."